To most UFC fans, Anderson Silva is considered the greatest middleweight of all time. With 16 consecutive wins and 10 title defenses, in his prime, Anderson Silva was untouchable. Now there are a handful of people trying to hand over the middleweight GOAT title to Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya is a 2-time middleweight champion, 5 successful title defenses, and of course we can't forget about his flashy style that really drew people in. With all of this middleweight GOAT debate going on, I got to thinking, what if I gave Anderson Silva's career to Israel Adesanya? Would he still be in the GOAT debate if he had Anderson Silva's opponents? Let's find out. So how will we do this? Well, first off, we're going to use UFC Undisputed 3, beloved game, one of my favorite MMA games, except this version is different. This version is called Undisputed Forever. It's a mod done by fans of the sport and fans of the game. And because of this mod, I'm able to put Israel Adesanya against the earlier UFC fighters. When we get to the more recent fighters, I'll use EA Sports UFC 5 for that. If there happens to be a fighter that isn't in either game, I'll use the real life outcome and add that to their record. Now there are some fighters that should be in Undisputed 3, but if you know how mods work, some fighters or character models have to disappear in order for other ones to pop up. In this case, Nate the Great Marquardt is in Undisputed 3, but they needed to mod his character model so we won't be able to simulate a fight against him. So just keep that in mind with a few of these fighters. So we're going to start with the UFC career, so no kickboxing, no pride. We're going to simulate on the hardest difficulty, and we're going to use the simulation settings on each game. So it's time for Israel Adesanya to make his UFC debut at UFC Fight Night 5. This will be a UFC title eliminator fight against Chris the Crippler Lieben. We'll see how he does. Chris Lieben had great knockout power, he was a bulldog, and he had a decent chin. But if I'm being honest with you, just like when he matched up against Anderson Silva, Chris Lieben doesn't have anything for Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya loves these type of matches, especially when it comes to striking, because Israel Adesanya will be able to pick apart and counter Chris Lieben all day. Not only that, but if we're talking about size difference, Chris Lieben would have infinite issues with somebody like Israel Adesanya. So in his UFC debut at UFC Fight Night 5, Israel Adesanya dismantled Chris Lieben and he was able to pick up the win via knockout.
Beautiful hook. Oh, that one dropped him. Oh,
I don't know how he's last.
Vicious ground and pound. The referee has stopped the fight. Wow, what a display.
That was a great UFC debut for Izzy, but it's only the beginning. Right now, we move to 1-0 on our record, and in our next fight, we'll be fighting for the middleweight championship against Rich Franklin. Now, I know a few people are asking, how did Israel the Spider Adesanya get a championship fight, his second fight in the UFC? Well, you have to remember, he was popular coming into the UFC. He had fights in the Brazilian circuit, Mecca, Pride, Gladiator, so on and so forth. So he was already experienced and more than ready for somebody like Rich Franklin. Respect to Rich Franklin, he will always bring you a good fight, and in my opinion, a jack of all trades. He was solid everywhere, but he didn't stand out anywhere. Just like against Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin didn't have anything for Izzy on the feet. Izzy was way too technical for somebody like Rich Franklin, and he was able to get the counters going early in round 1 and round 2. And we all know once Izzy finds that flow, it's pretty much over for you. But respect to Rich Franklin, because he did take this fight to round 4, Izzy was just way too much.
Oh, nice. Oh, he's hurt. That one dropped him. This could be it.
Man, that knee landed heavy.
It's all over. That is as vicious a display of ground and pound that you and I have seen in a long time. That was very, very nasty.
A great fight for Izzy. He's able to dismantle Rich Franklin and win the middleweight championship. Now it's time to take it to the next level and get the title defense run going. We're not able to simulate a fight against Travis Lutter, so we're going to give Izzy the win for that since Anderson Silva had the win for it. We're also not able to simulate a match against Nate the Great Marquardt, so we're going to give Izzy the win for that also. So our next fight in this simulation video will be a rematch against Rich Franklin.
Is the new UFC middleweight champion.
I know Rich Franklin was looking for a different outcome in the second fight, especially when it comes to getting your belt back, but in Adesanya versus Franklin 2, it was more of the same. A bunch of counters, a bunch of big shots landed by both fighters. Izzy's shots and timing just had more of an impact. Not only that, but I know Rich Franklin still has nightmares about that Muay Thai clinch that Anderson Silva put him in, and Izzy did the same thing in fight number 2. Rich Franklin wasn't a bad fighter, but certain fighters were able to prove that there's levels to MMA. And both Anderson Silva and Izzy showed Rich Franklin that there are just levels when it comes to MMA and stand-up.
And now he's answered. Left hook, he's down. Oh! He's getting jacked here. He's in big trouble. It is all over. Wow. Man, that was nasty.
So once again, a great performance from Izzy. He defends his belt, but up next, he could very well be in danger. Rich Franklin landed shots. He just didn't have the power to do a lot of damage. Now Izzy has to deal with the prime Dan Henderson. Hendo has a lot of power. Unlike Rich Franklin, if Hendo hits you, you're going to feel it. Not only that, but he's a great grappler too. He will wrestle you to death. So if you're not careful, Hendo will shut the lights out on the feet or on the ground.
That round, Mike, the counter fighting was unbelievable. Look here at this slip right into a counter. And this was that hard-fought takedown to get the fight to the mat. And here's another great counter. Dodge the incoming attack, spot the opening, throw a strike of your own. Some good groundwork in that round, Mike.
Both round 1 and round 2 were back and forth. I could tell that this was the hardest challenge that Izzy has seen so far. That explosive power was dropping Izzy, and of course Hendo was going for those takedowns also. And I think that's just in the game plan. Why would you try to strike with Izzy if you have a grappling advantage? But Israel Adesanya is a really smart fighter and a really good fighter. He's able to adjust on the fly. It's not like he wasn't getting his knockdowns in too. Hendo went for a takedown, stuffs it, hits him with the knee. They were knocking each other down and hitting each other with great shots. Keep in mind, this is a younger, more in his prime type of Dan Henderson. So he was absolutely dangerous. Everyone was looking forward to this fight because if anyone could shock the world right now, it would be Hendo.
And now he's answered. He caught the leg and down he goes. He dives on him into the guard with that punch. Pushes him off with the feet. And another. Oh, he rocked him bad here, Mike. Oh, he got hurt. He's down. Oh, he recovers. And the... Oh, head kick. Oh, beautiful hook. Fight is over. That is all it took.
And he did shock the world. Hendo knocks out Izzy cold. Face down, ass up for the middleweight belt. Now keep in mind, this is simply a simulation for entertainment purposes. Do I believe that Hendo would knock out Izzy like this? I don't know. I've seen crazier things for sure. In the comments below, let me know if you agree or disagree with any of the simulation outcomes. For right now though, Israel Adesanya has some work to do. He'll have to climb those ranks to get that belt back, and that's what he did. Because we're not able to fight James Irvin, Patrick Cote, or Latis, we're going to give Izzy the win for those 3 fights because Anderson Silva won those 3 fights. Those were the rules, and so we're sticking to them. So just imagine Izzy is on a 3-fight win streak right now, and now we're jumping ahead to UFC 101. Israel Adesanya moved up to light heavyweight to fight Forrest Griffin, and this should be a good one. When it comes to Forrest Griffin versus Anderson Silva, it's the highlight tape seen around the world. I've never seen a hoop mixtape for a UFC fight. We saw Anderson Silva enter the Matrix, and he also knocked out Forrest Griffin with a retreating jab, which is crazy. But let's see how Israel Adesanya will fare against a warrior like Forrest Griffin. Don't get it twisted. Anderson Silva did do Forrest Griffin grindy, but he was still a warrior in that octagon. To me, the thing that stood out with Forrest Griffin was the intangibles. He had heart, he had a chin, good conditioning, and honestly, I don't know if he just had good conditioning or just the will to fight. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. If he won a fight, it most likely went to decision, but that doesn't mean he couldn't catch you with something crazy.
Elbow, a lot of those strikes to the body start. Well, now you see some visible damage on the side underneath the elbow. He took a huge shot, finds the door.
Now he's got to go find the flowers again. The kill shot is what they call it.
The blitz of Forrest Griffin versus the patience and countering of Izzy. Which one will fold first? Forrest got off to a really good start in round 1, but in round 2, Izzy found that flow we were talking about earlier with the striking, and then this fight started looking really familiar.
Great technique on the open. Nice. And back to it. Oh, this could be over soon.
At the end of the day, Izzy was just way too much for Forrest Griffin. Like always, Forrest Griffin put up a fight for a little bit, but once somebody finds that flow on the feet, it's not a lot you can do, especially with people like Israel Adesanya. And to be real with you, Forrest Griffin just doesn't have the facilities for Izzy, man. Unfortunately, we weren't able to match up Israel Adesanya with Damian Maia. We're sticking to the rules. Since Anderson Silva won this fight, we're going to give Israel Adesanya a W for this fight. For the next fight, we were at UFC 117 against Chael Sonnen. At the time, Chael Sonnen was a professional yapper, but he did have the wrestling skills to back it up. After UFC 117, Sonnen did test positive for elevated testosterone levels, but either way, Anderson Silva, Israel Adesanya, it doesn't matter. Izzy made quick work of Chael Sonnen on the feet.
Back to the feet now.
Oh, that's big. Oh,
Well, DC kind of just playing with him at this point, right? You think he's got to go in and just get him out of there. That is it!
oh my goodness.
It took Izzy one round to dispatch of Chael Sonnen, and so now we can move on to the next fight. Izzy is moving right now. After that Dan Henderson loss, we go on a 6-fight win streak. We get some wins at light heavyweight, we get some wins at middleweight. Izzy is looking really versatile right now. But up next at UFC 126, we have Vitor Belfort. If Belfort can land consecutive shots on Izzy, he could definitely be an issue. He has explosive power where a knockout will come out of nowhere. Then again, Israel Adesanya could also channel his Anderson Silva and put this man on the cover of a video game. You never know what could happen in a fight like this. I do like the matchup though. Round 1 was kind of even. It's looking like both fighters are trying to stand and bang unless somebody gets knocked down to the ground. Vitor has landed some great combinations. He did drop Izzy in round 1, but in round 2, Izzy came out with a point to prove. He had to remind Vitor that he stepped into the octagon with an elite striker. Respect to Vitor for taking this fight to 3 rounds, but at the end of the day, once again, Izzy is just on a different level when it comes to the striking. He started rocking Vitor Belfort over and over again on the feet, and then eventually, it was just way too much for Vitor Belfort to handle.
90 seconds now to go in the round.
Hurt him bad.
Oh, big left. Oh, he gets up. The question is for how long? That is it.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, you got to be kidding me with that.
Izzy knocks out Belfort in round 3. It wasn't as flashy as the Anderson Silva knockout, but a win is a win. For the next fight, we cannot match up Izzy against Okami, but since Anderson Silva won that fight, we're going to give Izzy that win. After Okami, Anderson Silva will go on to fight Chael Sonnen again. Now I wonder how Izzy would fare against Chael Sonnen in fight number 2. Now we're going to jump ahead to round 3, because in this fight, Chael Sonnen was definitely trying to grapple a lot more than he did in fight number 1, as he should. He's a wrestler. He should be trying to get Izzy down on his back. But you know what they say, you start every round on your feet, and that's where Izzy got most of his damage done. He would outstrike Sonnen until he went for a takedown, but he kept doing it at the end of the round, so it really didn't mean anything, and he couldn't get any damage off. Round 3 was really the beginning of the end, because in round 3, Izzy put those hands on Chael Sonnen, something crazy. So in round 4, you kind of felt that the end was near.
Strong outside leg kick.
Hurt him again. Now he's back up.
So wisely, he continues to attack that area that is cut wide open. When you were fighting, that'll do it!
Holy smokes!
Izzy put Sonnen away with an electrifying head kick. And we've been on a winning streak, so just pretend that this fight happened for the belt. Just pretend, okay? I think it's about time he got the middleweight belt back and see how long he can defend it. Last time, he lost it instantly to Dan Henderson. But now Izzy has some experience under his belt. Now the next fight, we have Chris Weidman. In real life, this was the beginning of the end for Anderson Silva, but maybe it's just the beginning for Israel Adesanya. I'm not going to lie to you. Chris Weidman came out on a heater. Not only was he standing and banging and bringing the fight to Izzy, of course, the All-American went for those takedowns. And let me tell you, it got pretty ugly in round 1 and round 2. Weidman was going for submissions, laying the smackdown on Israel Adesanya. For a second here, I forgot this was a simulation. I was like, Izzy, you need to get up. I was watching this like an actual fight. I watched Weidman beat one of my favorite fighters back to back. Till this day, I would just keep saying it's a fluke, even though I don't want to take anything away from him. Anderson Silva was one of my favorite fighters. And now I just don't want to see it again with Izzy. But I don't know, man. They got pretty bad for him.
So we have crossed the midpoint in this one. Trying to over the top. This fight's gonna be over.
What a great way of mixing up his attacks. Didn't stay the course. He mixed it up. He went high with the low, and now he's got him hurt very badly.
That's it. Chris Weidman.
Look at how the simulation massacred my boy. Chris Weidman knocks out Anderson Silva in fight 1, and then he also knocks out Israel Adesanya in fight number 1. I'm hurt. The only saving grace is we get to fight Chris Weidman back to back to make sure that it wasn't a fluke. So let's go ahead and jump into Israel Adesanya versus Weidman 2 and see how he did. Fight number 2, Weidman has been on Israel Adesanya's ass. He keeps wrestling him. And you know me, or you probably don't. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like the video. But I do things the honest way. I only simulate fights once, and this hurts me because even though I don't want to see Weidman go back to back on Israel Adesanya the same way that he did Anderson Silva, Weidman actually cheated in fight number 2. So I was thinking about running the simulation again, but I just didn't have time to. But what do you think of this?
Oh, and there's the horn at the end of the round. So the fighter was really confident. And there it is! The winner by submission.
Man.
So what a win for him here tonight. He gets it done and gets it done by way of submission.
He's not my champion, bro. Time ran out, but they gave him the tap. That's cheating, right? That's not right. But even in the simulation, bro, Weidman went back-to-back on Adesanya the way he went back-to-back on Anderson Silva. I believe the wrestling of the legendary AI was just way too much for Adesanya, and that's where Weidman was able to take advantage. Of course, he's a great wrestler. So let's go ahead and move into the next fight. We're at UFC 183. We have Izzy squaring off with Nick Diaz. Of course, Anderson Silva tested positive for some stuff. Nick Diaz apparently tested positive for marijuana. I don't know. There's no way. Even in real life, the fight was super comical. If you ever see Nick Diaz just laying on the floor in the middle of the octagon, it's from this fight. But because they both tested positive, I believe this is a no contest now. But we're going to run the sim anyway because I'm a fan of Izzy and I'm a fan of the Diaz brothers.
Beautiful job staying at range and dictating the fight, landing punches like that. Oh!
that can survive. Uppercut attempt here. Nice job defensively there by Diaz.
Man, what a fight. And we'll put him to sleep. Oh, he's hurt. He's hurt already. Bad.
I believe Izzy would handle Nick Diaz the same way Anderson Silva did. You can have all the antics you want, all the taunts you want, but that won't stop you from getting popped in the mouth with a jab. I mean, don't get me wrong, Nick Diaz definitely landed some good shots. He's a Diaz brother. That's what they do. They may lose the fight, but they will make it a fight no matter what. But at the end of the day, Nick Diaz did not have the facilities for Izzy. Simple as that. Izzy would get back in the winning column with a nasty finish in round 2.
And we get back to his feet yet again. Oh, but not a good look for the judges here. Look how wobbly he is. Well, he's really picked up the pace here in round 2. Much more aggressive now here and starting to find himself in the pocket.
Nice job blocking that punch.
Diaz has got a bruise appearing on that left side now. Gotta think that bodily investment is gonna pay dividends later in the fight. Beautiful strike there by Israel Adesanya. He's got a lifetime in the game, not a lifetime in the UFC, but you see, this is a lifelong striker who is very dangerous.
There it is again. Look at it.
Oh, big one! Back to his feet. Oh, he might get finished here.
That was what's going to end the fight.
All right, so some definite damage underneath the elbow. That'll do it!
Holy smokes.
Yeah, that was just a gorgeous shot to end.
What a nasty KO to flatline Nick Diaz from Israel Adesanya. He definitely needed a match like that after losing to Chris Weidman back-to-back. So far, Izzy has had a long and successful career. We only have about 6 fights left, and I want to see if he ages better than Anderson Silva did in the UFC. Like I said before, Chris Weidman was pretty much the beginning of the end for Anderson Silva, but it's good to see Izzy still picking up wins. For the next fight, we're at UFC Fight Night, February 27th, 2016, where Israel Adesanya will be facing off against Michael Bisping. I'm looking forward to the stand-up in this match. We all know about Izzy and what he's able to do and how he's able to counter, but Bisping also had okay kickboxing and really good boxing. Not only that, but his cardio is legendary. So in this fight, I definitely forgot to change the number of rounds, but if it goes to championship rounds, that's definitely an advantage for Michael Bisping because he doesn't get tired. But he has to get there first. Once again, he wants to box with Izzy, and that's cool, just don't get downloaded and countered. But Bisping will get his too. So far, this was a very back and forth fight. Michael Bisping has landed some great shots on Israel Adesanya, but Izzy just keeps coming back and landing even better shots, catching him with even better counters. And because of that, he's able to put down the count.
Both fighters starting to open up a little bit.
He can't even stand.
Bisping gets back up again. That'll do it!
Oh, my goodness.
The fight might have been 3 rounds, but that was really an ass whooping. Izzy just had his way. And you know what? He's on a little bit of a streak. He's at the end of his career. I think I'll give him one more title shot in his next fight. Next up, we have DC. Izzy is moving up to the light heavyweight division, and DC can be pretty dangerous. We all know he's going to try to grapple. That's what he does. I mean, if it wasn't for that hump of John Jones or even Stipe, even though DC did beat him once, Stipe came back and beat him twice. But that doesn't mean DC is sorry. Take away John Jones and Stipe, DC is having this way with most fighters on the roster.
Selling, folks, is not from sodium. That is from a serious ground and pound attack from his opponent. Huge elbow. Big strikes continue to land. 10 seconds to go in round 4.
I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm going to jump ahead because I don't know how many Izzy fans want to see this. DC has been mauling Israel Adesanya for 5 rounds. It hasn't been close. For 5 rounds, DC took Izzy down, laid on him. And honestly, I can believe it because with the move to light heavyweight, these are big boys. These are grown men. And I think DC would have to lay on Izzy before he starts attacking that body.
Shots to the midsection.
All right, you all let me know in the comments below. I'm not saying the simulation is right or wrong. It's for entertainment purposes. I want to see some discussions in the comments. Izzy versus DC. Is DC knocking Izzy out with a clean uppercut? I don't know. I'm not saying DC can't beat Izzy. Like I said before, he would probably lay and prey on him for 5 rounds, easy. But man, seeing Izzy get flatlined like that, it's tough to watch. It's tough to watch. But we are at the end of Izzy's career, so maybe that has something to do with it. For the rest of Izzy's career, he's going to move back down to middleweight where he belongs. Let's see if he can end his career better than Anderson Silva did. Next up, he has Derek Brunson.
Oh, good power with a short shot to the head in the clinch.
Good takedown defense by Israel. Oh, he lands another shot to the head.
Big strike lands.
Big strike lands. Now what? Making sure the punch he throws is very effective.
Well, you can just see he is oozing. Somehow, his opponent stayed up on him.
I mean, he's still on his feet, but
Now it's funny because Derek Brunson definitely has the ability to wrestle, but in this simulation, he took the stand-up approach. And that's interesting because in this simulation, we've seen time and time again, if you stand up with Izzy, unless you're Hendo, you're most likely going to get knocked out. We've also seen in this simulation that the way to beat Izzy is to put him on his back. But Derek Brunson definitely came alive in this fight. On the feet, he was rocking Izzy early in round 1 and round 2. And maybe that's why he decided to go with the stand-up. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like Izzy has improved on his wrestling and takedown defense because he definitely has. But if I'm Derek Brunson and you give me 2 options, either strike with Izzy or grapple Izzy, I don't know which one I would choose. That's all I'm saying.
Perhaps they're on the bridge. Oh, look. He's hurting for certain. Just over 3 minutes to go in round 3.
passes the half guard.
Good work from the top here by Adesanya. Man, another one lands. He's trying to pound his opponent's head through the canvas.
Nice.
Brunson gets up. He is back on the feet. Looked like he was in a submissive state on the ground, but he worked hard there to get back to the feet. Throwing that jab, no good. And that will do it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, man, crowd.
Derek Brunson honestly fought a great fight against Israel Adesanya, but after a while, Izzy just becomes too overwhelming, especially when you get into the later rounds. Izzy starts to pour it on, and unfortunately, it was just way too much for Derek Brunson. But he did get his shots in. Like I said, it was a great fight. They both had incredible knockdowns. And once again, forgive me, I forgot to change the round numbers. I just don't feel like backing all the way out to do that sometimes. So that's my bad. I'm only saying that because I know somebody will bring it up. So the most interesting thing about giving Izzy Anderson Silva's career is that their paths cross. For a short amount of time, your idol becomes your rival. And so now we have Izzy facing off against Anderson, the Spider, Silva.
To go 2 wins to 0 against his idol. This is a massive fight. 2 of the greatest middleweights of all time.
DC about the kicking game. Sometimes you forget it. Oh, strike lands there, and somehow his opponent's chin held up.
His opponent's chin held up, but you do not want to be on the receiving end of those types of strikes.
Oh! Big shots exchanged in the pocket there.
I think when you have two people like Israel Adesanya and Anderson Silva fight, it's going to start off pretty slow. And that's what happened in this match. Both of these fighters are super patient, but at the same time, they both have a killer instinct. They know when to go for the finish. They know when to dial it back some. They're both counter experts. I would have liked to see a prime Anderson Silva versus Izzy, but I'm glad that we got this fight regardless. This fight definitely gave us some dope moments.
Silva gets caught by that straight punch. That'll get his attention. Oh, how about the accuracy of the land right there? His opponent's wobble chin.
He's hurt bad. He cannot take another shot like that.
Oh, no. Oh, he's got him hurt here. Oh!
He's got to find a way to finish this fight. Big stance base.
We passed the midway point of the third and final round.
Even though Anderson Silva landed some great shots and rocked Izzy, this fight will go on to go to decision, just like it did in real life. Now, just like real life, Izzy pretty much imposed his will on Anderson Silva. But once again, this is one of those fights that you love to see. It's like a student's final test against his master.
All right, so he gets back to the feet. That was seemingly the only way he could go. Stuck trying to recover here. All right, so the fighters go the distance here tonight, but it went a whole lot better for one of them than the other. Talk us through the replays, champ.
Some decisions are different than others, and his striking really did separate him from the competition. He fought so well in the stand-up game that he should get a very easy decision.
Let's take it to UFC 237, where Israel Adesanya will be facing off against Jared Cannonier, and he does have a cannon in those gloves. Honestly, this might be a good matchup for Izzy. Once again, Jared is somebody that will want to kickbox with him, and as we've seen from the previous fights, standing up with Izzy in this simulation doesn't really go well for the opponent. But I am glad to see Israel Adesanya ended his career better than Anderson Silva did.
Swing and a miss by Adesanya. You gotta start to look to finish him now.
This might be the biggest
3 minutes have elapsed. Nice job by him to get the knee to the target.
Over the last few years, I've seen Jared Cannonier improve significantly when it comes to his stand-up and grappling. So what I wasn't expecting was Izzy coming out here and completely dog walking him. On the feet, Jared Cannonier had nothing for him. Grappling-wise, Izzy really held his own. Cannonier wasn't really able to hold him on the ground or hold him against the cage, and that forced him to strike with Israel Adesanya. And I'm not gonna lie to you, he caught a masterclass. Now, Jared does have power. He tried to get in one last hoorah with the overhand right, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough to put Izzy out. And then round two, Adesanya said, okay, it's time to put this man away with something crazy. A Superman punch right to the jaw, flatlined him, knocked him out cold. We've been seeing it time and time again. Once you have to stand and bang with Izzy, it might be a wrap for you. Israel Adesanya is definitely fighting Father Time at this point, but it doesn't seem to matter because he still has a few knockouts in him. So we're here at Adesanya's final fight of his UFC career. He'll be fighting Uriah Hall. Uriah Hall is another respectable UFC fighter, and I cannot wait for Izzy to match up against him for our final fight of our UFC career. I think Uriah Hall always had the tools to succeed in the UFC. I thought he would go further than he did. I mean, we got some great knockouts, some great fights from him, but the mental aspect of the game really can't hold you back. And I feel for Uriah Hall because when I hoop, sometimes I do have sports anxiety. And that's basically what Uriah Hall has. And it's hard to explain. If you haven't been through it, you don't understand it. It's not nervousness. It's not a lack of confidence. It just happens from time to time, and it's really unexplainable. Once again, it's one of those things you have to go through to really understand it. That's why you'll see moments where Uriah Hall is the man. He lets the hands go, he lets the feet go, and he's unstoppable. But then you see other fights from him, and he's like a whole different person. And it's not because of his opponent. It's not because Uriah Hall is nervous or anything like that. It's just mentally he's going haywire. And when your mental is going haywire, your body is going haywire. You don't feel like you have control. So I feel for Uriah Hall for sure. We'll see if he can get over that hump and give us a good fight against Israel Adesanya, because obviously Izzy wants to go out on top.
His opponent could be out of here soon, DC. 3 minutes now to go in round 2.
Oh, he better start moving.
Right to the target. Let's see if his opponent can survive.
In Israel Adesanya's final fight, he put on a masterclass against Uriah Hall, man. Uriah Hall had nothing for him. Izzy was knocking him down over and over again, rocking him over and over again, hitting him with everything. Counters, head kicks, leg kicks, you name it. Not only did Israel Adesanya beat up Uriah Hall, he also beat up Father Time, man. I mean, the onslaught was just vicious. And in round 4, he finally got his KO over Uriah Hall with the simple little boop, and it was over with. And honestly, that's how you want to end your UFC career. Izzy's able to finish off Uriah Hall, and that would end up being his last fight in the UFC. What a great way to end your career. End it on a knockout, go out on top. You don't go out on an injury or because you're just old as hell. You leave on your terms. I love to see fighters do that, and that's what Israel Adesanya did against Anderson Silva's matchups. Now, obviously, we can't simulate like age regression and stuff, but just let me cook, all right? Let me cook. So what is your final call? According to Undisputed 3 and UFC 5 in the simulations we ran, if we gave Israel Adesanya Anderson Silva's career, his final UFC record would be 21-4. How do you feel about that? Let me know in the comments below. Keep in mind, when it comes to the UFC record, it's only his UFC fights, and I also included the fights that we weren't able to simulate. So no, it's not 25 fights on this list, but there were 25 fights in total, technically. I'm not going to lie to you, I had fun doing this video and I would like to do it again, but in order for me to know that you guys want to see things like this, you have to drop a like on the video and let me know in the comments below. Say, D-Man, we want to see more of this, and let me know whose career you would want to see me swap. If I gave Izzy Anderson Silva's career, it's only right that I give Anderson Silva Izzy's career, and it would be prime Anderson Silva too, just to see how that goes. But if you have any more ideas that you would like to see, be sure to let me know. If you would like to see the Undisputed 3 mod showcase, definitely let me know that too, because that's a really cool mod, and you all know Undisputed 3 is one of my favorite games. So make sure you drop a like on this video and leave a comment if you enjoyed it. It helps me out, it helps the video out in the algorithm. If you haven't seen my videos before, I drop UFC and NBA 2K over here heavy, so if you're interested in that, you should stick around.